Brittney Griner, who was imprisoned in Russia in a man's prison, which I had no idea about.
Brittney Griner is under fire for extremely aggressive behavior portrayed toward Caitlin Clark, the rookie from last year, the one that has everybody's focus in the WNBA. And this incident has, of course, gone viral online, but also sparked up some other skeletons in Brittney's closet that she probably wants to.
Following the release of startling medical information about her attack on Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner recently went into full panic mode. The WNBA and other organizations have been rocked by the doctor's allegations. Everything we believed to be true about this dispute is altered by what they found. The league is in a panic. Griner says nothing, and the truth is at last being revealed.
And Caitlin Clark. Now, Brittney Griner literally represents the woke trifecta in sports. She is black, she is gay, and she is a woman. However,
Which is more shocking, the WNBA's total silence on these medical results or what the doctors disclosed about Griner? For reasons much beyond her racist rant on Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner is in full panic mode after the WNBA world was just utterly upended. Professionals in the medical field have come forward with shocking revelations. Griner's remarks against garbage white girls are being made to sound like playground banter. Griner's and the league office's silence is no longer merely suspicious, it's outright. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now, back to the video.
Riley's point, though, I think it is important. If the inverse had been said by a white person, just imagine the outrage that would be taking place right now. There is just so much hypocrisy in every institution, but particularly the WNBA, who are very fond of virtue signaling. But even when it comes to Brittney's exchange for, like, the Merchant of Death, which is insane, by the way. But had that been just like a straight white girl, my guess is that straight white girl would probably still be rotting.
Implicating. Riley makes a point, but I believe it would have been significant if a white person had made the opposite statement. Imagine the indignation that would be occurring at this very now. Every organization is incredibly hypocritical, but the WNBA stands out for their love of virtue signaling. However, even in the case of Brittney's transaction with the Merchant of Death, which is absurd, by the way, I imagine that a straight white female would still be rotting if that had been the case. Let's begin by discussing the actual events of that now famous game. In what can only be described as a premeditated attack, Griner elbowed Clark. As the white girl left the court, Griner was seen on camera openly mouthing garbage. The video was really clear. Several specialists verified the lip reading, and there was no denying the discriminatory intent. This is where the story takes a surprising turn, though. The medical experts who examined the video paid attention to more than simply Griner's statements. They began analyzing her physical attributes and habits. The sports medicine world has been rocked by what they discovered, and the WNBA is not at all interested in providing answers. These are neither wild conjectures or conspiracy fantasies. These are qualified medical experts pointing out disparities that need to be looked upon.
But apparently, Brittney Griner is, in fact, a man. And one of the videos that give us cause to say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago. It says on here 109 weeks ago, and I believe this was screenshotted and posted a year ago. So quite a while. Let's go ahead and watch this, and we'll talk about what we think after.
Flag you. Brittney, let me see something real quick. Brick! Thank you! Get the fuck! Get the hell out of here, yo! Yo! Jab stepping, it's a brick. Swing and a miss!
Griner's bone structure and muscle development patterns were the first warning signs that prompted medical attention. Her physical form was examined by sports medicine specialists who focus on gender-related athletic performance. Furthermore, what they discovered is not consistent with the normal growth of female athletes. Her jaw structure, shoulder width, and general skeleton frame exhibit traits that are incredibly uncommon in biological females, including top athletes. However, the medical analysis didn't end there. Physicians began analyzing Guerrier's biomechanics, voice patterns, and even her past injuries. For Guerrier and the WNBA, the medical consensus that resulted from the combination of characteristics they uncovered is absolutely catastrophic. Guerrier's biological verification for female athletic competition is currently being questioned by a number of independent medical experts.
Is to say that this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram. And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors, but specifically the AI detection to make sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a bare female chest, we have to take this down. It obviously assumed that Brittney was male and therefore being topless on the platform was totally fine. It did not.
Guerrier's current anxiety is about more than just the repercussions of her racist remarks. It's about the potential for these medical discoveries to reveal something far more significant. According to the doctor's findings, there may be basic issues about her ability to participate in women's sports that have never been adequately addressed or looked at. From a medical perspective, here is where things get really fascinating. Griner's topless Instagram photo was analyzed, revealing features that some medical professionals deemed incompatible with female anatomy. The growth of the torso, muscle definition, and chest structure revealed patterns that these medical professionals usually identify with male physiology, not female athletes who have had any kind of surgery.
The WNBA's Brittney Griner is in fact a man. And where a lot of this actually surfaced from, and I mean, you guys could probably say like, yo, isn't it obvious? Like her voice, you know, there's a lot of things that you can kind of look towards. However, this video actually resurfaced. It's an Instagram story from, I believe it says 109 weeks ago. I can't see from here, but over 2 years ago, that this video was recorded and it was recently leaked on Twitter. So Kelly, if we can go ahead and play this video, please, and then we'll have a discussion.
Brittney, let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the fuck.
Damn.
There is more to the Instagram AI detection system's inability to identify the content as female nudity than a simple technological error. It's proof that Griner wasn't categorized as female by automated methods meant to identify biological traits. These AI algorithms are quite good at recognizing biological sex traits because they have been trained on thousands of photos. It appears that the system recognized male anatomy because it let the content to stay up. Guerrier's injury patterns and recuperation periods are being cited by medical professionals as more proof of their worries. Her capacity to absorb impact, recuperate from physical strain, and preserve muscular mass exhibits characteristics associated with male athletes rather than female competitors, according to sports medicine. No amount of training can overcome the benefits created by the differences in bone density, muscle fiber composition, and general physical resilience. The psychological analysis is just as harmful. After watching the video of Guerrier's assault on Clark, mental health experts have identified behavioral patterns that speak to underlying animosity and rage that goes beyond typical competitive ferocity. The deliberate nature of the racist verbal and physical attacks suggests psychological problems that could result from internal struggle or identity uncertainty. Here's what's actually making Guerrier anxious, though. In order to definitively address concerns regarding her eligibility for women's sports, the medical community is now advocating for extensive biological testing. These examinations, which would offer indisputable proof of her biological status, would include chromosome analysis, hormone level testing, bone density measurements, and muscle composition research. It is utterly deafening that the WNBA has remained silent about these medical discoveries. They've had several chances to respond to the doctor's worries, request independent testing, or offer any clarification on Guerrier's eligibility. Instead, they continue to shield Griner from any serious repercussions for her actions while pretending that none of this is taking place. Concerns over the league's testing and verification practices are also being voiced by medical experts. How is it possible for someone with Guerrier's physical attributes to compete in women's events without triggering any red flags? What type of medical records were supplied, and who was in charge of confirming their legitimacy? These are issues that are fundamental to women's sports' competitive integrity. The legal ramifications of these medical disclosures are another reason for Guerrier's anxiety. Years of accomplishments, titles, and records could be invalidated if it is shown that she has been competing under false pretenses. Due to the possibility of litigation from other competitors who lost out to someone who shouldn't have been allowed to compete, the financial ramifications alone could be disastrous. Experts in sports medicine are pointing out that Griner's physical advantages go beyond small variations. These are basic biological advantages that lead to unfair competition. Her muscular strength, bone density, height, and reach offer advantages that female athletes just cannot match through training or natural growth. When these advantages are utilized to physically threaten and attack smaller female competitors like Clark, they become even more problematic. Through this lens, the medical study of Guerrier's hostile behavior toward Clark assumes new significance. Guerrier's physical attack on Clark is much more heinous if she has been concealing biological advantages while competing against biological females. It goes beyond simple, unsportsmanlike behavior. It might be a biological guy intimidating and hurting a female competition with his superior power. The psychological effects of this incident on other female athletes in the league are also being discussed by mental health specialists. It conveys the idea that female athletes are not safe in their own sport when one of the league's brightest stars is physically assaulted and subjected to racial abuse by someone whose eligibility is in doubt. The psychological harm affects not just certain players but the women's basketball culture as a whole. Concerns that were previously written off as conspiracy theories have gained legitimacy due to the medical community's involvement in this topic. It is hard for the league to disregard or sidestep concerns raised by qualified medical professionals regarding competitive eligibility. Investigation, not quiet, is required by the scientific evidence. If these worries are confirmed, medical professionals are also highlighting the wider ramifications for women's sports. Allowing someone with dubious biological status to compete and win could set a precedent that could lead to similar circumstances in all women's sports. Clear biological boundaries that are appropriately upheld are essential to the integrity of female competition. The possible criminal ramifications of Griner's attack on Clark are another factor contributing to her stress. The situation could be elevated from ordinary assault to something far more dangerous if medical analysis reveals that she physically attacked a female competitor using biological masculine advantages. When there are notable physical differences between the parties, the legal system views violence extremely differently. Professionals in sports medicine are urging the quick adoption of thorough testing. Procedures that would confirm each WNBA player's biological condition. It is obvious that the existing self-identification and minimum documentation approach is insufficient to preserve competitive integrity. It is important for female athletes to understand that they are competing against other biological females rather than individuals. The medical disclosures regarding Griner also provided new insight into her earlier remarks regarding fan reactions and crowd noise. If she has been concealing something that a closer look could reveal, her objections about the increased attention and scrutiny take on new significance. When seen as attempts to divert attention from hard topics, the victim mindset and defensive stance make more sense. The larger pattern of aggressive behavior that Griner has exhibited throughout her career is now being examined by medical authorities. The regular use of physical intimidation, the tendency to target smaller players, and the seeming pleasure of making opponents uncomfortable are all behaviors that sports psychologists identify with people who are concealing important information about their identity or eligibility. Guerrier's support system in the WNBA is also affected by her panic. It's now possible that other athletes, coaches, and league officials who supported and condoned her actions are involved in a far bigger scandal. Numerous individuals inside the company may be implicated in concealing competitive fraud if the medical proof supports the suspicions of many. Given Guerrier's prior legal issues in Russia, the global ramifications are especially noteworthy. It could cause diplomatic problems and raise concerns about the eligibility of other American athletes if medical investigation shows that she was competing under false pretenses while representing the United States in international competition. Medical professionals are emphasizing that the evidence they have found is not predicated on bias or conjecture. It is predicated on quantifiable biological indicators and observable physical traits. Social pressure and political correctness are irrelevant to the scientific approach. It is just interested in facts, and Guerrier and the WNBA are very uncomfortable with the information they are providing. Medical experts are also attending to Caitlin Clark's psychological effects. Trauma that goes beyond typical competitive stress is caused by being physically attacked and subjected to racial insults by someone who may have been concealing biological advantages. Although Clark has demonstrated incredible fortitude, the psychological toll of competing in a setting where her safety and dignity aren't safeguarded may have long-term consequences. Experts in sports medicine are also emphasizing the potential precedent this case may establish for handling comparable issues in other leagues and sports. All levels of athletic competition may use the medical analysis methods being used to assess Griner as standard procedure for confirming competitive eligibility. The consequences impact all women's sports, not just women's basketball. The possible loss of endorsements, sponsorships, and future earning prospects is another factor contributing to Guerrier's financial concern. Businesses that have aided her career are now being questioned about their affiliation with someone who might have engaged in dishonest competition. Her long-term financial prospects could suffer greatly from the harm to her reputation. Medical professionals are stressing that bias or discrimination is not the source of their concerns. They are driven by competitive justice and scientific integrity. Allowing people with dubious biological status to compete against female athletes undermines their difficult accomplishments and has the potential to completely destroy women's sports. Female athletes have fought for equal opportunity and respect for decades. The possible influence on Grier's reputation and position in basketball history is another factor contributing to her concern. All of her accomplishments and records would be tarnished if medical analysis revealed that she had unfair advantages due to concealed biological traits. It has the potential to drastically change the history of women's basketball. These disclosures have also given legitimacy to demands for accountability and transparency that the WNBA has been attempting to evade. It is impossible to write off concerns raised by reputable medical specialists as prejudice or ignorance. Instead of deflection, the scientific data demands responses. What makes this scenario so important are the wider ramifications for competitive integrity in all sports. Every sporting organization will have to reconsider its testing and verification procedures if the medical analysis supports the suspicions that many people have regarding Guerrier. The repercussions might change the rules and oversight of sporting competition. Guerrier's current state of terror is only the beginning. The need for thorough testing and inquiry will become unavoidable as more medical experts review the facts and contribute to the discussion. When it comes to medical science in particular, the truth has a way of emerging. It's not only what these medical disclosures imply about Guerrier specifically that is most devastating. It's what they show about the WNBA's readiness to overlook clear issues in order to shield particular players. The league's credibility is in jeopardy, and their silence just exacerbates the problem. A picture of the WNBA's systemic inability to adequately check competition eligibility and safeguard female athletes is painted by the growing medical evidence. It might be the largest scandal in women's professional sports history if these worries are confirmed by extensive testing. Brittney Guinier's medical disclosures have uncovered a scandal that extends well beyond racial remarks. Physicians are calling for solutions that could permanently alter women's sports. The fact that the truth is finally emerging justifies Guerrier's fear. If you believe that thorough testing should be required, please hit the like button and subscribe for more exciting updates. Please share your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe, and enable all notifications so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next one after you click the video on the screen.